Part 1, Question 4, Article 1, whether God is perfect. And since Question 4 is, quote, on the perfections of God, we can guess that the answer is yes. Thomas here, as he always is, he's being a good lawyer. He's laying out his case one step at a time, and he is defining what exactly he means here by perfect. Does that mean scoring a 100% on a test? In baseball, a perfect game is when the pitcher records 27 consecutive outs. An Olympic gymnast can earn a perfect score. But what does it mean to call God perfect? According to Matthew's Gospel, be ye perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. Notice that Matthew takes God's perfection as something for granted, takes it as not only something for granted, but we can try to imitate God's perfection through His grace. Objection 1. But to be perfect means to be made perfect, and God isn't made, wasn't made. Objection 2. And if God is the first cause, He is undeveloped and therefore imperfect. Thomas uses the example of a seed and a completed plant. The completed plant is more perfect, and we'll get to the question of the chicken and the egg later. Objection 3. And if God's essence is existence, surely that cannot be perfect. Being can go in any direction. Perfection, or telos, means complete and finished. Perfection, the end point, not the beginning. Think about it in terms of our three examples, the test taker, the pitcher, and the gymnast. Each one completed a perfect performance. It wasn't until the last pitch was thrown, it wasn't until the last landing was nailed that the performer knew that the performance was perfect, until the results were tabulated and tallied and judged to be perfect. But that is not the case with God. No one is judging God. Some people think they are, but we're not. Thomas returns to the definition of God as the first efficient cause of everything. He makes a distinction here between this cause and a material cause. Think of it this way. The correct answers on the test, they already existed. The rules of the sport, they already existed. These things that already exist, they made the perfect performance possible. The material, then, is the performance itself, and that works itself out in time, but the rules were already there. God is perfect. We are not. Reply to objection 1. The strike zone is already there, to carry on the analogy. The potential for a good pitch is already there. Your job as the pitcher is to make the strike actual by throwing the ball successfully. You may pitch a strike, but when you do, you are not inventing the strike zone. You are just executing a pitch. Objection 2. The second confusion involves prime matter, something that the pre-Socratics posited as this undifferentiated stuff out of which everything else is made. But the imperfect cannot be absolutely primal, but must be preceded by something perfect. See, we're getting to the chicken and the egg here. Quote, previous to that which is potential must be that which is actual, since a potential being can only be reduced into act by some being already actual. In other words, primal matter can't really be primal, can't be the absolute first of anything, or it would just stay as it was. And that's the answer. The chicken came first. Well, imagine this. You have a chicken egg there. And even if there are no chickens currently existing in the universe, what type of egg is it? It's a chicken egg. You've answered your own question. If it was a green egg, color would have to exist before you could have this green egg. If it was a good egg, some level of goodness would have to exist first. This is a chicken egg. Chicken exists first. Quote, for seed, though it be the principle of animal life reproduced through seed, has previous to it the animal or plant from which it came. Thomas then differentiates beings with a small b, such as men and horses and chickens, versus capital B, being. They differ, says Thomas, as receiver and received. And the answer to this question about what it means to be perfect and the chicken and the egg helps us distinguish between Thomas's metaphysics and this modern evolutionary Darwinist metaphysics. If you don't believe me, you can check out the Wikipedia article on the chicken or the egg. Before Darwin, the answer was the chicken, the form of the chicken, the perfect coming first. After Darwin, the answer from the modern philosophers is the egg would come first. With St. Thomas, however, we know that God is the absolute first cause and God is perfect.